Wondery Plus subscribers can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free right now. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Everybody, and welcome back to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Haha, yay indeed, Jimmy, yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you folks so much for joining us today on another, this is a classic brain damage meets heroin. Like that's...
Oh, terrific.
If you get someone who is a brain damaged junkie, you really got something to deal with Crime and Sports. I mean, wow. Yeah. Been punched in the head a lot, and... Yeah. Maybe the worst childhood of anyone we've ever talked about, possibly, which is saying something here. So
yeah, it is.
We'll get into this. I'm telling you, the table is set for a classic episode this week. I can't wait. But before we get to that quickly, head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. Get your merch, get your T-shirts, and get your tickets to live shows, of course, for Small Town Murder. Mm-hmm. We have a few more with tickets left remaining here. Chicago, August 12th. Right. It's our biggest show. So it's going to be our biggest show. It's an awesome place, and we cannot wait. Get in there. We're doing a Chicago-only live show. You can only see it there. So get in there, Chicago, August 12th. And then we have tickets left for Dallas, Charlotte, Atlanta, and there's like a couple left in Philly, but they're pretty much almost gone. So get in there and do that. Shutupandgivememurder.com. You definitely want to get on Patreon. Mm-hmm. That's a fact. Patreon.com/crimeandsports. Pretty easy to remember. Anybody $5 a month or above. A cup of coffee, damn it, will get you tons of good stuff. We're talking a couple hundred back catalog bonus episodes to binge on, and new ones every other week. This week is no different. You're going to get access to all of this. One Crime and Sports, one Small Town Murder. And this week, we're going to do for Crime and Sports, Theme Park Disasters Part 2.
Part 2.
I'm so excited for this. We left off in like 1985, I think. So we're going to have some modern day theme park. It's going to get, we get ambitious with theme parks in the 90s. And so people launch way further off of roller coasters by like 95. It's going to be a good time here. And then for Small Town Murder, we're going to talk about the Stanford prison experiment, which we've been asked to talk about a ton, where they did an experiment at Stanford, and they took a bunch of psych students, and they said, hey, half of you are guards, half of you are prisoners. I wonder what's going to happen. And it was fucked up. So we'll get into all of that. Patreon.com/crimeandsports is where you do all of that stuff. Now, needless to say, we got to get into this. It's time for the lunatic of the week here, and holy shit, this is wild here. It is John Lee Anthony Tapia. Johnny Tapia.
He's got two?
The boxer.
Two middle names.
Lee Anthony Tapia. Okay. His nickname is Mi Vida Loca. So that tells you a lot right there. That's his nickname. And I would have to say, My Crazy Life. And that is an understatement. I mean, this guy, I don't even know what to say. I'm not even going to preface it. Let's just get into it. Before we even start, normally we start out with he was born on this date. But before we say he was even born, in the womb, let's say 5 months in the womb. So it's just starting to come around here. Grace. Yeah. We're going to call Grace in the womb, okay? For the first time ever, we're calling Grace in the room.
Grace at the ultrasound and the little flicker?
Well, yes, because allegedly his father was murdered before he was born.
Oh, my God.
While his mother was pregnant with him, so.
He didn't die. He was murdered.
He was murdered before he was born, and that's maybe the easiest part of his life so far. His father's been murdered. Yeah, we'll talk about that later, because there's some other crazy shit that's going on. Everything here starts in New Mexico with him, where a lot of crazy comes from. Albuquerque.
Yeah. So is that right?
He's from Albuquerque, which anybody we've ever talked about on Crime and Sports from New Mexico, with the East Boys, I believe, Cody and his other anybody like that, they're extra crazy. I don't know if there's some leftover radiation or something from the testing in the 50s or what here of bombs, but there's some brain damage.
The seclusion, and it's so flat, so it's like you're away from everybody, but you can you can see how far away you are because you can't see anything and it's flat.
There's got to be radiation. That can't be all of it. It has to be. This is scientific. What's happening with these people?
There's always dust in your teeth.
There's atoms splitting and shit to make people this crazy, right? It has to be. Has to be. So he ends up being born here, finally, on February 13th, 1967, in Albuquerque. And we'll talk about him. He's not a very tall guy, by the way. He's a boxer. He's only 5'6", so he's a little guy in a lighter weight class. He's not a heavyweight or anything like that. But we're going to have to skip over tons of boxing today. We're not going to be having a lot of time to talk about boxing. I'll say he won this fight, he lost this fight, and if someone's got a funny nickname, we'll talk about that for a minute. But otherwise, we have no time to talk about boxing because it's constant insanity with this fucking guy.
He's that much of a mess.
And it starts out early on here. His mother's name is Virginia Gallego, and wow, it's not good. So reportedly, allegedly, and we'll talk more about it, his father had been murdered before he was born. Then, at the age of 7, Jesus Christ, Johnny was riding on a bus that drove off a 100-foot cliff.
Wow.
Normally, that would be the end. Thank you for tuning into Crime and Sports, everybody. Thank you. It's been a crazy episode. We've had a murder and a child die, and that's enough for today. Thank you. But no.
He survived it?
Apparently, this hurled a pregnant woman seated next to him out the window over him and threw her to her death.
Whoa.
So he watched a pregnant woman launch over him out the window and die. So,
and there's no seatbelts in there, so how the fuck did he stay in?
I don't know. He was by the window. He must have not been launched because he was already
the wall.
Probably next to it. He got to brace himself.
She was just like lobbed like that.
Yeah, she got
ball on a cup.
Yeah, like out of a catapult. I pictured her flying through the air. Seeing a silhouette of a pregnant woman flying through the air.
Terrible.
Which is way worse than E.T. and a kid in a bicycle. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? I'd rather see that than with her feet kicking, whee, and her pregnant belly. That's not good.
Not good.
I picture her, of course, 8 months pregnant, too. Really round.
It wasn't she was coming back from the appointment with confirming it.
No, with a little sonogram picture showing it to little John. Hey, Johnny, want to see? No, this is she was rubbing her belly
yeah. Any day now.
I got to pee all the time, and then just shot right out the window.
Fuck, my back hurts.
Yeah, I mean, we can only laugh because this happened in 1974. So it's okay. It's bad things. She'd have probably been dead anyway. We don't know. So
she was thrown to both of their death, huh?
Everybody dead there.
Wow.
Tapia was thrown through a window, but he escaped with a concussion. So. This is a guy who'll be a boxer later on, and early on he gets a pretty nasty concussion at the age of 7. So
probably one of the worst ones you can get, tossed out of a bus.
It killed a pregnant woman. So I mean, it's couldn't have been that good for anybody, right? Had to be pretty hard.
Concussion. Yeah.
So right away he's starting out with possible brain damage early on in a forming brain. So this is rough. Probably not the best guy to be punched in the head a lot later on. So.
Likely got a lesion already.
Probably. Then when he's 8 years old, the next year, not a good time for him.
Very next year.
Next year, May 23rd, 1975 to be exact here. All right, well, let's read from a newspaper from the time, okay? Virginia is his mother. Now, his mother's not a famous person, so if she's in the newspaper right away, that's not going to be good. So, right away, you know something's wrong or something's bad. So May 23rd, 1975, quote, a warm Friday evening, Virginia and a girlfriend went out together to a honky-tonk on Central and Coors called the Cow Palace.
Okay.
Wow, right there. I see mistake one.
Yeah.
Mary Helen stayed home with the 2 young boys. Late in the evening, Virginia lent her car to her friend who was leaving the bar to follow home someone the pair had met. Meanwhile, Virginia stayed at the Cow Palace waiting for her car to be returned. So she's like, will you finish sucking his dick so I can fucking get my car back? That's what it is.
Hurry up.
Yeah, it's the mid-70s, too. Who knows? Yep. We stopped sucking him and his friend's dick. It was 75, so that's probably what it was there.
Take my car so that you don't have to rely on them to get you back.
Exactly. You'll end up in the woods somewhere otherwise. Right. So, but Virginia's friend got arrested for a DUI. Instead. So Virginia had no ride home. She just sat there waiting for her car. So at some point, late, she just sits there the whole night. She has no car. She has no choice but to wait. At some point in the early morning hours, according to Bernalillo County Sheriff's Department records, Virginia likely accepted a lift from the Cow Palace, but she never made it home. It gets worse. Around 9 a.m. that morning, a Saturday, the owner of a gravel pit near Coors Road, about 5 miles south of the Cow Palace, discovered an incoherent young woman lying on her stomach in the rubble. When Sheriff's Department deputies arrived, they thought the woman, who was fully clothed but bore no identification, had been blasted repeatedly by a shotgun.
Whoa!
The front and back of her thorn-covered white blouse were riddled with what appeared to be bullet holes. In shock, the woman was put into an ambulance and taken to Presbyterian Hospital. By the time she reached the hospital's intensive care unit, she was unconscious. Placed on life support system, she began to go downhill. A small news item appeared in the Journal the next day. The story described the unknown woman in the clothes and the jewelry she wore. Esther and Mary Helen Tapia saw the article and wondered if the woman could be Virginia, who was missing. On Monday, they identified her. Meanwhile, little Johnny said, "Where's my mom?" he asked.
Yeah.
She's away for a few days, he was told. She'll be back soon.
Oh, my God.
But she didn't come back. 4 days after being admitted to the hospital, she died at 32 years old. Sheriff's deputies located one of her shoes and some blood-crusted stones at the opposite end of the gravel pit. She was left for dead with 33 stab wounds. With knives, screwdrivers, they said. All different implements.
What the fuck?
She was stabbed that much and had crawled more than 500 yards for help.
Never ask me why I hate Albuquerque ever
Jesus Christ. Yeah, because every gravel pit has a stabbed woman in it. That's why.
Unbelievable.
Albuquerque. All our gravel pits have stabbed women in it. Come on down. Wow. So
what the shit, man?
She remained a Jane Doe for 2 days until the story and a photo ran in the paper, and her sister went to the hospital and confirmed that that's who it was. So Johnny's aunts and uncles went to visit his mother over the next few days, but they wouldn't allow Johnny in, as the article says here. Johnny wanted to say goodbye to his mother, but they said no. So she died 4 days later.
Yeah, you can't let an 8-year-old see that.
No, that's fucking ridiculous. So she's
terrible.
Anyway, no one's ever charged with this murder.
What?
She went into unconsciousness, never came back, so she was never able to describe her assailant or anything like that. You'd think someone at the bar would have saw her leave with somebody or something, but
nothing.
No one had shit to say. An autopsy showed that she hadn't been shot. She'd been stabbed in the chest, arms, shoulders, and back a total of 33 times with what medical examiners said appeared to be a pair of scissors with the blade closed, as a lot of the wounds do, and a screwdriver, they thought, for some of them also. Sheriff's deputies interrogated several people who were seen with Virginia that Friday night at the Cow Palace. One man had suspicious scratches on his arms and was later caught posing as Virginia's brother in an attempt to gain entrance to the ICU. That's the guy you want to talk to, I think.
Yep.
A lot.
That sounds like him. Mm-hmm.
2 other men had lengthy police records dating back to the 1950s, but no arrests were made. In the time, the leads grew cold and the case was closed, and that was that. So,
oh my!
She was also raped as well.
Of course.
So,
because that's why you do that.
And
I'd
left
love to know if the cops have ever followed up on searching whether or not that man with the scratches ever did anything else ever again. Because if he did, he's probably your guy.
Yeah, there's probably a good might be.
You know what I mean?
Hey, scratch guy.
I'm sure he doesn't stop there.
Yeah. And what do you do for a living? Like cut thorn bushes? Yeah. If not, I want to talk to you.
And she was in a place where there was brambles and bushes and stuff too. You know what?
It makes a lot of sense.
Wow.
The whole thing. So now Johnny says, here's the thing here. Johnny says later on that, this is only from Johnny's memory, we don't know, that he recalled being awakened in the middle of the night by a noise that he thought was his mother screaming. This was nowhere near his house, by the way, this happened. He said he looked out the window and saw her chained in the back of a pickup truck. He said he woke up his grandparents and told him that he heard his mother screaming and saw her chained in the back of a pickup truck out the window, but they thought that you're an 8-year-old boy and you're probably having a dream, and said they sent him back to bed. Okay. You know what I mean? Who knows? We don't know. The odds of her screaming in enough time for him to get out of bed and walk to a window and look out and then have it go across and just happen to drive by their house on the way to the murder seems far-fetched, but...
Or maybe he's heard something and they subliminally get that. Yeah, and you make a dream up and it feels real.
Also, he's already had a severe concussion, so we don't know what he's imagining and what's going on in his brain. So at this point, we're hurting here. So now he's got no parents.
Grasping for answers, too, because this has got to be baffling.
It's terrifying, I would think. So he's got his grandparents now, Miguel and Esther. They're going to take care of him and his brother Oliver as well. So he's raised by his grandparents. He lives with them and 15 uncles and cousins.
Oh, yeah, that's healthy.
He slept. Okay, we've had a lot of bad situations. This is what I mean. As a childhood, to have your mom tormented and tortured to death, basically, and have your dad you never met him because he's allegedly murdered already. Right. Flown out a fucking bus window with a pregnant woman exploding in front of you and all of these different things. This is already...
Now you're going to live with 18 other people?
Yeah, this is all before you even get to Grandma's house. This is already one of the toughest childhoods we've ever encountered. Yeah. And we've dealt with people who had dirt floors and no plumbing and things like that. He's living with 18 people, so there isn't really a room in the house, so he just sleeps on the front porch.
Oh, my God.
That's where he sleeps, on the porch.
In Albuquerque.
So he has no parents and is essentially, he has a home to go inside to, but not at night. He's got to sleep. He's got a real good, like homeless people would be jealous. He's got a real good spot staked out that no one else can get. But he's still essentially homeless, though.
There's a roofed up shitter in there. But, that apart from that, he's the same.
Yeah, and he can just be like a child. He can just be taken off the porch at any time by anybody, which is also odd. So...
in the middle of the night.
Yeah, when he's an early young teenager, preteen and teen here, he's trying to channel his rage, he says later on. He's very upset, which, hey, this guy, as far as kids go, if anyone has a right to be a little pissy, I think it's
entitled.
He's got some problems. I think he needs someone to sit down to him, have some conversations with him.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's being dealt with, but he deals with it by joining a gang.
Hell yeah.
Which, that makes sense here. The Wells Park Locos, as the gang he joins. Yeah. So he had some minor incidents with the law and things like that, kid shit here. And his grandfather, though, said, no, absolutely not. You're not going to fuck up.
No locos for you.
Yeah. No locos, no mas locos, young man. Not happening. Yeah. So they said that Virginia had been his grandfather's favorite daughter. So... he said that he didn't want his grandson to end up like his grandmother, and he said, quote, if you hang around with bad people, you could get stabbed, Johnny. That's what he said. Very specific fear. Just stabbed.
Yeah.
You could get stabbed like your mom, or tons of other things.
Or maybe your father, because we don't know how he's murdered. He may have been stabbed, too.
No shit. So... but he was such a tough little shit that his grandfather and uncles, rather than saying, hey, if you hang around with bad people, you're going to get stabbed, they said, well, we'll be the bad people you hang around with. So they started taking him to bars as a child, not to drink and hang out or anything, which would actually be preferable to what they're having him do. Instead, they're having him fight all comers, and then they bet on it. That's how they make money. They bet on it and take bets. Can you beat my grandson up? They have grown men fighting him.
How badass is he?
This is like Harley Race. Harley Race and Fritz von Erich had this upbringing. This is the same thing, except I believe they slept indoors is the only difference.
They had beds.
Their parents weren't murdered, so a little different. But yeah, this is crazy. They're making him do it. Like,
is he big or is he like?
No, he's 5'6", fully grown. That's why they could make a lot of money on him, because he's so fucking tough. And some grown man who just got off his job as like a road crew worker thinks he can kick the shit out of him, takes his orange vest off, and is going to scrap with a fucking 13-year-old, and the kid beats the shit out of him. The grandparents make a ton of money.
Wow.
So that's how they did it. They said this was when he was 10. They were doing this. 10. Small child, but he's beating up grown men.
Wow.
When you feel like you have nothing to lose, it
can always get worse.
If a very ugly man wants to fight you, don't do it.
What are you going to do?
Don't do it. Yeah. He doesn't care about his face at all. You worry about it. So,
oh boy,
this is wild, man. And obviously he's a good fighter, and he likes to impress his after a while, he likes to impress his grandfather, and he likes to impress his uncles, and he likes to impress these people. And also, if he won the fight, they'd give him $1.
A buck,
which is nice to have. If he lost, then they'd beat him up.
Then
they'd smack him around.
Oh my God,
you pussy!
He didn't make us any money.
He said, though, it actually made him a better fighter, though. Obviously, he said, quote, "Pretty soon I'm not losing anymore. It wasn't worth losing."
Okay.
This is crazy. I
can get beat up, or I can get $1.
Or I can get $1. That's it. So he said that his older and bigger relatives slapped him around all the time when he was young so he could take a good beating. He was like, okay. So he became an amateur fighter when he was about 12, and he was only 56 pounds. So he put rocks in his pockets to make the 70-pound minimum.
Literally rocks in your pockets.
Yeah.
Oh my
God.
God.
2 years after he was fighting people in bars, he was 56 pounds. So he's like 48 pounds fighting grown men in bars and winning, or else getting a beating from his grandfathers. This is
unbelievable.
This is fucking bonkers.
So he's got more concussions now because he's doing bare knuckle fighting with adults.
He's not in a ring with a referee looking in his eyes if he gets hit hard. None of that's happening.
Outside of a bar at probably 45 to 50 pounds.
In Albuquerque, which makes it somewhat worse, I feel like. Anyway.
There are hardy, heavy people there.
Yeah. There's some big people there. Lots of big people. And some hardy people, some people that work outdoors in the heat. There's some hardy people. So then he goes to Albuquerque High School and continues his amateur boxing career. He does very well. We're not going to talk about individual fights from his amateur career. I'll give you an overview here, but he won the 1983 New Mexico State Golden Gloves. Wow. That's when he's 16. The 83 and 85 National Golden Gloves tournament at light flyweight and flyweight, 83 and 85 respectively. So he's a bad motherfucker.
Nationally. That's awesome.
He's a badass. I mean, from what I look at his amateur record, I see his losses are all points. Any losses he has are points here. There's an article in the Albuquerque Tribune from 83. It's headlined, "Young Tapia Stands Alone." I guess he does. He's 106 pounds at this point. And he said that, I guess the team that he was fighting on, he won, but other people lost. And he said, "I'm happy inside, but I wanted our other guys to win too. I didn't want to be the only guy celebrating a fucking win."
100 pounds.
Yeah. You can't go into a locker room going, "Yeah, fuck yeah." Well, everybody else lost. That's not fun anymore. So no good there. But they're talking about what a great fighter he is. They said that, he seems to be, they call him the baby-faced assassin at this point. Yeah. And he said, "I wanted a knockout. My trainer kept telling me to work harder and harder in every round." He said, "I should be ranked after this. I should be the number 2 ranked guy by Friday. I want to fight for the USA team."
Okay.
So he's trying to do that. Yeah, I see a couple of losses on points here. Then he talked about, should he be a pro fighter, though? He's looking at that. And he's like, "I don't know." He said, quote, "Most of the time I think I should wait a few years." He said, "I'll be bigger and stronger if I do that." He said, "But then sometimes I think I should go sooner. I don't want to wait too long until it's too late."
I don't want to be an old maid.
Yeah, I don't want to be an old maid at 17, and also,
I don't want to miss my prime when I'm 16 and a half.
I'd like to start while I still know my name,
Yeah.
And then I'll forget it over the course of my career. So they said that he's going to remain an amateur for now, but 106. He wants to go, they're talking about him going to 112 here. So that would be the big thing. Yeah, go all the way up to 112. His amateur record is 24-8. And everything I see is all on points, and one is a DQ. He's disqualified for hitting after the referee said to stop hitting. So they disqualified him. Yeah. So that's how that goes. And he decides to go pro March 25th, 1987. He's going to go pro. Now he's 20 years old, and he's going to be managed by Albuquerque's Joe Maloof. That's not one of the Maloof brothers, is it?
It's got to be,
I
right?
don't know. And trained by Beto Martinez of Phoenix. I've heard of him, too. So
really?
He planned to fly to Phoenix to start his training, and he's going to do his shit. And he said, it's been a dream of mine to be a pro fighter and win a title belt since I was a little kid. Ever since I was winning fucking real belts from grown men in bars. That's what I would do. I'd beat them up and then strip their belt off of them and say, I won this now.
Ever since I didn't have parents and my grandpa beat me up.
Yeah.
That's when I wanted this.
I've wanted this. So 1988, he starts getting into drugs pretty hard right away.
Really?
Pretty much as soon as he makes a dime, he's going to get into drugs here. Yeah. He's 21 years old, and he's doing coke.
He's in Phoenix doing coke?
He's in Phoenix doing coke. Yeah. And he said, quote, the first time was a mistake, but the second time was a habit. You know he loves cocaine, or at one point really loved it, because listen to this. He calls cocaine she.
Yeah.
When a guy calls coke she, wow, did he have a fucking thing with it.
Old boy's done a lot, yeah.
That's a love affair.
And did he shame on coke, shame on me? The first and second time he tried it?
First time was a mistake, but the second time was a habit.
First time, shame on me. Second time, shame on coke
shame
for
on
being
coke.
so good.
Then he said, quote, she got me where she wanted me, and she gave me everything. This is how people talk about like a ship. The Titanic was a she, not cocaine.
Or some girl you didn't want to fuck that night, but you did it anyway.
That's fucking amazing.
Because she got me where I wanted.
I got to read the whole thing from the beginning here. Start. Okay. The first time was a mistake, but the second time was a habit. She got me where she wanted me, and she gave me everything. Cocaine became my mistress. Cocaine. With a dash in it there. Cocaine became my... This sounds like a song lyrics here.
It does,
He's writing the goddamn song. So his first fight, probably coked up, March 28th, 88, he fights a guy named Efren Chavez, who's 6-1 coming into this fight. And this fight is a draw.
Really?
A fucking draw.
Too much coke.
We never... Yeah, how often do we hear that in a guy's first fight? A draw, not even a decision of any kind, a draw.
So they both fought, threw the same amount of punches, stood there looking at judges, and they were like, I don't know.
Seemed the same to me, right? Draw.
Head on home, boys.
Try harder next time. Bye. Never mind.
Be so depressing.
Yeah, it would. That's worse than losing.
Yeah.
A draw? A fucking draw? Rather than just give it to him. Christ's sake, that would piss me off. I want to fight him again now.
We fought all the time we could fight. Yeah. And judges looked at each other and were like, I don't know, you know? Well, I don't know.
You can't feel happy. You can't feel ripped off. You can't feel anything. You just feel like they did nothing to you. Nothing.
What was the point of this?
Yeah. This was stupid.
God damn it.
Should have stayed home. So the next month, April 11th, 88, he fights James Dean, back from the dead.
Really?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
He's 7-0 coming in.
Forces kicked that guy's ass.
That's what happens. Him and Paul Walker got them both. So this is a unanimous decision win. So he's 1-0-1. Next up, he wins another fight against a terrible guy with a 1-9 career record. Knocks him out there. So he's 2-0. He's going fighting every month, though, in 88 here. Martin Perez Ramirez, he beats up this guy in fucking first round. So it's coming fast and furious. July 13th, 1988, though, he's got a thumb injury here, apparently. He's got a fractured thumb. Okay. So you'd say, of course, he's a boxer. He's going to get a fractured thumb. No, you think he got it in the ring? Get the fuck out of here. No, not Johnny Tapia's wild style life. He's not doing that. Well, he suffered a broken thumb in a scuffle with an alleged trespasser in his backyard and was forced to cancel his first appearance in Las Vegas.
Oh, no.
Oh, Jesus
Is he staying in Albuquerque?
I think so. I think he's in Phoenix because that's where he trains, because his trainer's in Phoenix.
Behind the closed doors of government offices and military compounds, there are hidden stories and buried secrets from the darkest corners of history. From covert experiments pushing the boundaries of science to operations so secretive they were barely whispered about. Each week, on Redacted, Declassified Mysteries, we pull back the curtain on these hidden histories. 100% true and verifiable stories that expose the shadowy underbelly of power. Consider Operation Paperclip, where former Nazi scientists were brought to America after World War II, not as prisoners, but as assets to advance U.S. intelligence during the Cold War. These aren't just old conspiracy theories. They're thoroughly investigated accounts that reveal the uncomfortable truths still shaping our world today. The stories are real, The secrets are shocking. Follow Redacted, Declassified Mysteries on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Redacted early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer. I can really show you how to make some money. And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
His manager said that Tapia confronted a man in his backyard 2 days after someone had broken into his home. And in the altercation, he had suffered a cracked bone in his left thumb. He probably beat the shit out of that guy.
Yeah.
Think about how badly you would get pummeled if you were a regular person who's not a fighter and you just got in this guy's backyard and weren't expecting to be in mortal combat with a guy who's been fighting for his life since he was 9 in a bar.
If a professional boxer, after the fight with you, bare knuckled, breaks something in his hand, you look real bad. You're gonna hurt for months.
You are messed up
forever.
So finally gets to fight in Vegas on September 16th, and he wins a first-round knockout against Miguel Martinez. So that's nice. For some reason, they have a rematch. Oh, this is a different. Oh, this is Manuel Martinez. Okay, he fights Miguel Martinez, knocks him out quickly, then fights Manuel Martinez, who's a 1-11 career fighter, knocks him out in the first round as well. Wow. He's like, I will take all the Martinez boys. Any other brothers? Fucking Manuel and Miguel?
I'm going to knock your mom up and make another of you.
And then beat the shit out of that one. Bring him on.
Yeah.
I'll launch your pregnant mom out of a bus window. Don't fucking tempt me, motherfucker. So he fights Jorge Salinas in October of 88, who is an 0-1 fighter who ends up his career 0-2, so that didn't last long. All of these are first-round knockouts here.
Sure.
Finally, December 1st, 88, he fights Simon Contreras. His nickname is Kid Mello. And he's 4-5. You don't get a nickname when you're 4-5. No nicknames unless it's mediocre Marvin maybe or something like that. But
they have nailed it. He is very mellow,
very mellow, and he stays mellow his career because after coming into this fight at 4-5, he never wins a fight again, and he's 4-14 for his career.
Mellow as fuck.
Mellow, a little too mellow, man. You might want to pick it up a pace.
Yeah,
he's just like, hey man, chill. He's like fucking Tommy Chong and Up in Smoke. Hey man, like what the fuck? I didn't look at his face, man. I wasn't looking at his neck, man. Sorry, we were watching that before we were recording. And
such a
dying
good,
laughing.
God damn it.
Oh,
amazing.
Man, we love it. That's the best. So Kid Mello here sucks, but he goes all the just 8 rounds. So
really?
They go the distance, and it's fucking unanimous decision, and there you go. So he next up fights Little Abner Barajas is his name.
Oh, okay.
Lil Abner. 0-3 coming in, so you know how this is going to go. It's a second-round knockout for Johnny here. He's 8-0-1.
Lil Abner if he was Espanola, huh?
Yep, Lil Abner Espanola over here.
Unreal.
Perfect. So March 23rd, 1989, he fights Fred Hernandez, who, if anyone's ever needed a nickname, it's Fred Hernandez.
Yeah, there's a lot of use there.
That's just a lot of that.
Well,
so
which one?
He gets one. He is Fred Pantera Hernandez.
Okay.
Yeah, well. So there you go. So he's a 7-1 fighter coming in, but he ends up 13-15, so this doesn't go very well. Tapia is behind on points, apparently, but with 3 seconds remaining, he knocks Hernandez out cold, but he's saved by the bell because it's the last round.
Oh.
So he's out. They're fucking reviving him as the fight's over with. But the knockdown completely switched that round. Switched that round because it was a close fight, and Tapia ends up winning it. Yeah.
Wow.
So he wins at 9-0-1 he is now. So May 20th, 1989. This has never happened before. He's fought 10 fights, okay? Yeah. He is banned in California for having brain damage.
Really?
Already. Yeah, already banned in California.
What year is this?
1989. They always did CAT scans on fighters. Yeah. You have to get CAT scans before you fight to show that you're not fucking
So his brain damage is medically diagnosed. It's not just like he looks a different way.
And he's fought like 25 rounds. He has barely fought. Wow. But he's been hitting the head a lot in his life. So
much
problems. This is an article here, and it says by Rick Wright. And it says Albuquerque professional boxer Johnny Tapia has been suspended indefinitely in California after failing a controversial neurological test. It was a controversy whether to let guys with brain damage box back then. Literally, people were like, "Well, that's up to them. It's their decision."
The test evidently is questionable. Is that what they're saying?
I don't know. We'll go to the next paragraph. But a CAT scan administered in Albuquerque on Thursday apparently revealed no abnormalities in the undefeated 22-year-old. And Tapia plans to keep fighting. So the chairman of the New Mexico Athletic Commission, the vaunted New Mexico Athletic Commission, which sits high atop the mountain, and all those big money fights that happen in New Mexico all the time. They wouldn't be doing anything just to get a big fight in their town with a local guy or anything, right? No.
Well, they do them in Las Vegas, New Mexico, so that nobody knows the difference, James. So you can't tell.
Same shit. The California neurological exam is administered only in that state where it has disqualified a number of boxers and prompted lawsuits for reinstatement. In most states, the CAT scan is considered the most valuable tool in determining a fighter's neurological fitness. In this case, they said that they're talking to the initials CAT, and they're talking about what a CAT scan is. Yeah. So whatever. He says, quote, "No, I know I'm okay." That's what he says. I know I'm okay. He says, "They say in California that I have brain damage, but that couldn't be. Anybody who's seen me fight knows I don't get hit that much." Okay, that's fine.
You don't get it.
You don't get how brains work, I don't think, here.
You're clearly not a neurosurgeon.
No, but his manager said, "Listen, this is bullshit. The New Mexico State thing cleared him. He's totally good." And, quote, he said, this is from his manager. He said, "The doctor told me, quote, everything is fine." Okay. Yep, he said, "Dr. Chester told me I could start Johnny sparring again today if I wanted to. Totally good. Don't worry about it.
But I'm going to give him a day off because I'm a good guy."
Let him go out tonight, have a good time. He said there are a lot of questions about that exam they give in California. That crazy exam there. A CAT scan and the California test measure different things, is what this guy says. Our test tries to determine the degree of risk a boxer may have for an acute injury. In Tapia's case, chronic brain impairment was found. The exam is essentially the same one that prompted the forced retirement in California 2 years ago of Albuquerque Junior lightweight Tommy Cordova. They test your balance and your reflexes, because that's part of it. Right. You can't see everything in your brain. That's the point.
They don't test whether or not he can spell his name. They test whether or not he can defend himself, and you're going to say he's okay? He failed defending himself.
They test everything. It's a reflex test. It's to see if your brain is fucking working on all cylinders.
Capable of defending yourself.
Yeah, not just we saw a picture of it. Don't see any giant spots, so got it on in there until you do. He said, they ask you how many animals you can name in a minute. There was a written test. I had to color in some blocks, and they showed me a picture for 2 seconds and asked me how much I remembered. Stuff like that. I thought I did fine. That's why they're not going to let you box, because you thought you did fine, and you didn't. That's the point.
What do you want to bet I failed that test?
Oh, yeah, probably.
Sounds fucking difficult.
I could do it until about 11 o'clock at night, and then probably after that I wouldn't, because I'm very stoned after that.
How long do you get? 1 minute to name the animals?
It's, what do you say here? No, there was a written test. I had to color in some blocks. They showed me a picture for 2 seconds and asked me how much I remembered. Mm-hmm. That's what it was. So, yeah, I don't know, whatever. This is that's what they do for cognitive tests, to make sure they do that for dementia. They do it for a lot of things.
Flash and see what your eyes see and get back to your brain and then recall it. That's a pretty great test of whether or not you're fucking capable.
And there's logic things that go into the blocks. There's all sorts of different. I'm not a neuro. We're not hey, guys, everybody, I know that you might have thought so. Neither of us are neurologists. In case you got the mistaken idea that we were, I don't want anybody to think our credentials are more than they are, which are two fucking idiots.
Speak for yourself. You should see this gold-framed plaque I got.
So, anyway, that's what they're saying. They said that he flew back. I guess he flew back to Los Angeles for a more comprehensive test. Mm-hmm. He took the test 3 times. That's the other thing. The first
let me go one more.
Well, the first he did fine before his first pro fight 14 months ago. He did okay. Took the exam again before the fight with Freddie Hernandez, and 4 days took the before his fight, and then 4 days after the fight, the commission advised him that he failed. So he took the test before the fight, but they didn't tell him he failed till after the fight.
Oh shit!
Which is interesting. So on April 26th, it said Chavez and Tapia flew back to Los Angeles for a more comprehensive test, and he failed again.
Oh boy!
So that's not great. So, they said that Tapia's worries were hardly assuaged by the what they do now, the electroencephalogram, that thing.
Okay.
One of those tests.
CTE test.
Yeah, done in Albuquerque. It's also showed no abnormalities. An EEG is a graph representing a person's brain waves, but Tapia said doctors told him the EEG might have reflected only scar tissue from a concussion suffered in a childhood bus accident. They said the CAT scans had satisfied him that Tapia was unimpaired, and they said, there you go. It's fucking... So they're going to press for reinstatement in California. He is cleared to fight in Albuquerque, though. So he's going to fight in Albuquerque. So New Mexico set themselves up to get some money into their economy is what they did. That's what it is. So, yeah, he said he hated it. He said that this is the worst thing that I've ever had to go through in boxing, being suspended in California. Yeah, having to stay in New Mexico for any amount of time. It's the worst thing I've ever had to do in boxing. He said, I've come along. I really have a chance to do something as a fighter. I've come a long way, but this thing could have put me right back where I started.
Sure.
Man, it's crazy, man. He doesn't like it at all. He said, I knew there was nothing wrong with me, and this proves it, the Albuquerque test that he took. He said he spent at least $1,500 of his own money on medical exams and related expenses in an effort to confirm or refute the findings. And his manager said if there were anything wrong with Johnny, I'd be the first one not to want him to fight.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm pleased, happy, elated, any words you want to use. He said, if it means... Yeah, they said, will he be, do you think he'll ever be reinstated in California? And he says, if it means paying for more tests, I will. I'll pay for whatever. I'm getting him back in there. So he beats this next guy, some tomato can, named Josefino Suarez.
Oh,
so wins
Josephine.
that. Josefino.
Oh, Josefino.
Yeah, I think we're going to name him after his grandmother, Josefino. There you go. Yeah. That's that. So that is a unanimous decision there in 8 rounds. So he's getting pounded a little bit here. Mm-hmm. So he gets hit sometimes. He goes the distance sometimes. He's got to get hit.
Yeah, but he's only putting credence towards the bus accident of
that too
had damage, but he's not accounting for all the other shit that's happened in his life, like fighting grown men,
slapped around by his uncles and grandfathers. All these things
probably got brain damage from several different things,
from several different points of origin. We got a lot of brain damage going on here. So August 19th, 1989, here he fights Hugo Parita, who's 1-10-1 coming in. Not a good fighter here.
Yeah.
And he beats him in the second round, knocks him out. So there you go, 11-0-1. Next up, he fights John Michael Bam Bam Johnson. There's already a Bam Bam Bigelow at the time, but this guy ends up 31-11 for his career. So not terrible here, but this is a unanimous decision. It's at the State Fair in Phoenix. So if you were 11 and at the State Fair, you may have seen this fight, Jimmy.
You may have seen this man fight at the fucking Coliseum.
Yeah, while you were eating that fry bread shit. That's what you were doing.
Shit is so good.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Well, nothing against the fry bread. Yeah. That's not what we're talking about. That's good stuff. That would make this tolerable.
I've never seen boxing at the State Fair in Phoenix. I don't know that they do it anymore. That's a great fucking place to do it. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to
thinking
watch
about
it.
Yeah, it would. It would make sense there. Yeah, because you have
awesome.
the arena there. You have all that shit's right there. So Why
That's
not?
a piece of shit. Run some shitty fights.
Yeah, who cares? Fuck it. This isn't a huge fight. He's fighting a guy named Bam Bam, for Christ's sake. Next up, he fights Prudencio de Jesus.
Oh.
Prudencio. That's quite the name. Prudencio de Jesus. He's 0-1 coming in, 0-3 for his career, so you know this doesn't go well. Yeah. Civic Plaza in Phoenix, this is. He's fighting a lot of Phoenix fights now. This is a TKO in the first round, so there you go. Next up, Martin Perez Ramirez. He's fighting every month, by the way. Pretty much, within a month every time. This guy, it's an 8-round decision. He's going the distance again. This is at the Hacienda Hotel in Las Vegas.
Okay.
Not one of the bigger ones, if you don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's gone.
Next up, he fights Jesus Chong, otherwise known as El Tigre.
Yeah.
Better than Chong. Yeah. Jesus Chong. That's if Cheech and Chong had a baby together. It would be Jesus Chong, they'd name it, right? Am I wrong?
His daughter was Ray Dawn, right?
Yeah,
it's
Ray Dawn
pretty
Chong.
Close to. Well, that rhymes, I guess.
It was Ray Dawn, two separate names.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It made it sound like Ray Dawn Chong, which made her sound like she was very Asian. And then you'd see her and go, what the fuck?
What's happening?
You're like, maybe you're mixed of something, but you're definitely not. Asian ain't part of it. I know that much.
No.
It doesn't seem to be anyway. So this guy is a 32-16 career fighter. He'll go on to be, but this goes all 8 rounds and Johnny wins again. So 15-0-1 he is. Next up, he's fighting a 2-13 fighter. Knocks him out in the first round at the Civic Plaza in Phoenix. Next up, Roland Gomez. His nickname is Johnny.
Johnny Gomez.
Why go by Roland Johnny Gomez?
Yeah.
Just go by Johnny Gomez. Then you fucking idiot. What are you doing? That's a name. That's not a nickname. It's a regular name. You can't be a nickname of a regular name. That's your name now. Stupid. Fucking dummy. That doesn't work like that.
Why does everybody want to be Johnny? What? Because I've heard that before as a nickname for people. I don't get it.
I don't know. I mean, John Tapia is Johnny, but his name is John. Makes sense.
Really John?
This guy's name's fucking Roland. This doesn't make any sense.
I don't get Johnny
whatsoever. Mills Lane is a referee for this one.
Is that right?
Absolutely. This is in Lake Tahoe. TKO in the 11th round. This wins Johnny the IBF USBA Super Flyweight title.
Kid's a champion.
He's a champion. Yeah, Johnny Gomez here was 21-3 coming in, so he beat a good fighter. Next up, he fights Pablo Venezuela. His nickname is Mulatto. So, yeah, that's his nickname. That's his nickname. Maybe I don't know what he is. He can call himself whatever he wants if he is. I don't know. But that was also 1990. He could have nicknamed himself that a long time ago. Yeah. I don't know. And also in Spanish, maybe it's different.
It might be something else. I don't know.
Yeah, it might have a different connotation in Spanish here.
It might be something beautiful.
It could, it could be in beautiful sunset. We have no idea. So 19-1 he is coming in, the old Pablo here. So Pablo loses, though, in the 5th round. And this is in Phoenix at the La Mancha Athletic Club. The fuck is that?
That's a boxing gym that I think no longer exists.
Yeah, they had like enough room for an audience for a professional fight. A title fight?
South Phoenix, yeah.
This is a title fight. Holy shit. Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, this is a goddamn actual title fight. There's a belt involved here. So next up, this is July of 1990. He's still fighting every month.
Wow.
Like just stacking them. Jose Felix Montiel, a.k.a. Josecito. Josecito, sorry. Or Josecito. I don't know. Probably Josecito. He is 33-3 coming in, and it's a 9th round knockout for Johnny Tapia here. So he keeps his belt. Next up, Luigi Campuntaro. Oh, fucking Luigi. His nickname, Kid Dynamite the Godfather. Kid Dynamite's Mike Tyson, so you can't have that.
You can't do that.
And the Dynamite
Godfather,
Kid's already out there. And if you want to,
Godfather already exists. It's a movie.
If you want to be the Godfather, if that's your nickname, fine, great. Then be Luigi the Godfather Camputaro, and then don't come to me when people fucking call you a stereotype and make fun of you, you fucking idiot, you Guido asshole. I'm the Godfather, Luigi. Oh, come over here for a minute. Hey, what are you talking? Come on, fight me. I could beat you. I got a little bit of brain damage, but
he's
it's
got to
all right.
be from New York, right?
beats the shit out of me where Luigi Computaro is. There's Italians everywhere. He could be from fucking Italy for all I know.
But by this time, Tyson's very famous, and and so is The Godfather. So what are you doing?
Well, I mean, The Godfather would be naming yourself after the movie, because people do that. They name themselves after movie characters. But Kid Dynamite would be, you're not Mike Tyson, stupid. Right. You weigh like 130 pounds, tops. So
Luigi Rambo.
So Luigi's 22-4 coming into this fight, though. Yeah. So I know he's a tough guinea here, but he seems like probably one of the dumb. Just I don't know. I'm just they put me out here. I just take a lot of punches in the face, and I can hit them back if I want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Godfather. That's me. So
the Godfather Rocky.
I'm the Godfather Rocky, and I'm also what was the fucking God damn it. I'm also the Waco Kid. I'm Gene Wilder in Blazing Saddles. Got a couple other things I am, but we'll talk about
Butch Cassidy.
Butch Cassidy. They call me Sundance sometimes. You know what I mean?
You can call me the Bandit if you want. If it feels better, call me Smokey. I don't care.
I don't mind Smokey. You could call me Smokey. They call me Forrest Gump once in a while. I've been called Rudy a couple of times. So I'll really take whatever you want as far as movie references go. One guy just called me Corey Feldman from the Goonies. I was like, all right, that's a fine one. Cool. It's like good deal. You know what I mean? Jesus Christ. But this goes all 12 rounds, unanimous decision for Mr. Tapia here. He's super flyweight. October 24th, 1990. His fiance here, there's an article in the Albuquerque Journal. And I'll just read the article. Quote,
oh, boy.
Tapia's fiancée, Annette Holler, knows the anger. Quote, Johnny scares me sometimes. Jesus Christ, that's not good. Yeah. Says Holler, a tall, pretty manicurist who looks strikingly like Virginia Gallegos, like his mother.
What the fuck?
Oh, no, Johnny. Johnny needs therapy. Bad.
Sure does.
Listen, I'm not trying to be all whatever, but if someone needs therapy, it's a guy who, A, saw his fucking pregnant woman launch out the window and die in front of his eyes, and then had his mother fucking murdered, and he thinks he saw her chained up in a truck, and then was put in a bar to fight grown men for money. He needs a little bit of help, I think. A talk.
Who then parlayed all of that trauma into a very successful boxing career where he keeps the trauma happening. If he needs every head doctor. Yeah. All the doctors that work on brains should be seeing him.
Yep. And he fights every month because it feels like he needs activity. Right. And he's on coke, so that helps too. So Johnny said, heck yes. Heck yes, Johnny says.
Heck yes.
Annette and me fight. She scratched me and I've hit her, but we've always come back together. This is in the newspaper, he said this.
The man just admitted to crime.
He just, in the Albuquerque Journal, she scratched me and I've hit her, but we always end up together. You just said, we have a horribly toxic, abusive relationship where we physically assault each other on a regular basis, but it's all good because we get back together at the end. We're both from terrible backgrounds, is what he just said, so it's fine.
Started that statement with, heck yes. You may as well have said, gee golly, I beat my wife.
Golly gee, I smacked my fiancée around. I gave her the back of my hand.
Unbelievable.
Consarn it.
Better believe. But she hits me back, so, self-defense.
My God. Then Annette responds to that with, Johnny tells me I remind him of his mother. He even knows it. He even fucking knows it. It's not even like it's subconscious. Yeah. He says, I wish you could have met her. I think his mother looks over him like an angel.
Jesus.
She's not doing a very good job of it if she is, because he's in a whole bunch of fucking bad situations coming up here. Next up, Santiago Caballero he fights, and this is a 34-8 fighter. The fight is stopped in the 7th round due to an accidental thumb in Tapia's eye. So I think it's a no decision at that point. Or it's a win. They call it a win for him for some reason. Yeah, Tapia gets the win. He's 21-0. November 1990. Here we go. This is from the Daily Press newspaper. Super flyweight champion Johnny Tapia tested positive for cocaine nearly 3 weeks after his title fight, but was not tested as required immediately after the bout. So the IBF has asked the 3-member New Mexico Athletic Commission for a report on the circumstances following the fight against Santiago Caballero. They said it's unlikely he'll be stripped of his title because the test was taken more than 2 weeks after the fight. So that wasn't like he was on coke during the fight, which would be what they're worried about.
We don't know that for sure, but right now we're saying...
I'm sure he was, but they don't have any proof of it. They only have proof of 2 weeks later. So December 5th, 1990... They said that the commission will not sanction Tapia here. He said that he's fine. They're not going to...
For the coke.
Yeah, they're not going to fucking suspend him or anything. He won't be penalized. It's fine. He's all good.
To do it again.
He said, I'm just glad this whole thing is over. Now that everything's said and done, I can go out and get my world title like I wanted to. So get this all over with. He said, I've got my head on straight. I just want to forget about all this. It was a big mistake, but it's over now. Mm-hmm. He's all good. He's good now. No more. He had a month ago, he was in the newspaper going, I hit my fiance. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was fine. No one batted an eye at that. There wasn't even like after that, the reporter jumped in and said, this is a disturbingly, Jesus, that somebody would, or even this is a stupid thing to admit in public. Nothing.
It's crazy that he said this out loud.
They just went on to the dialogue of his fiance going, he said I remind him of his mother. She's an angel. What the fuck is happening? Oh my God. He has a cold that's going to delay his bout now in January 1991.
Oh, that's a drippy nose.
He's got a bad cold. Yeah, a super bad cold.
Sniffles.
I got a bad taste in my throat. You know what I mean? It just keeps dripping. His manager said, he's got a cold. That's the end of it, period. He hasn't been able to train properly because of it. His throat is sore and he's got a fever. We're keeping him in bed right now.
He's got the fever.
He's got the fever. And so he said that he's gotten his head on straight and this is crazy. So that's fucking wild. So January, oh, by the way, right under that, there's an article in the, there's like wanted ads near this in the sports page. And this one says, quote, wanted. Elderly woman for cleaning and light cooking in the home. Why elderly? Why do they have to be elderly?
Somebody saw Mrs. Doubtfire.
I just like to watch old ladies cook. Some guy jerking it. Yeah, come on, bake those cookies. Yeah, put pecans. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, sprinkle those chocolate chips in. Yeah, finger that pie. That's what I'm talking about. So,
it's the exact same ad.
Come on, Grandma.
That was in Mrs. Doubtfire.
Pretty much, yeah. Elderly, except elderly, I don't think was in the title.
I don't think elderly, but light cooking and cleaning was, right?
Yeah, light cooking, cleaning, kid watching. Mm-hmm. This is just cooking and cleaning. No kids involved here. So,
good.
Albuquerque Journal here in January. Is it January? Yes, January. I didn't know if it was July or January. So I'm like, January.
Could be June.
January. 1991 here in the Albuquerque Journal. He says he's healthy, dedicated, and ready to fight.
Oh.
Yes, and he's going to dedicate his next fight to the U.S. troops that are in the Middle East right now.
Okay.
In the first Iraq War.
Money to them or just
No.
Just the memory of them?
The memory of it. He said, you know what? Yeah, he insists that for him at least, it's more than a PR ploy.
Yeah.
That's right. He said, quote, it's war. That's what he said. He goes, it's not funny, but people still make jokes about it, and I know how that feels.
Is it not funny? That war was pretty funny. We lost like 3 people.
And not even by like, any sort of enemy intervention. Like one guy got too drunk and fell off the top of a tank, I think, and broke his neck. And like, no, that's
we
a couple
literally
people.
Lost
We're not people got sick too and stuff like that. But at the time, it was like, oh, look at this. We're rolling in and there's not even anybody to fight us about it. So people were making jokes about it.
There was a lot of jokes about it.
Yeah. It turned out, not so great. But anyway, he said, though, that, this is what he's doing. He said the guy said that he was fighting, called it a PR ploy. He's like, it's not. It's not, damn it. And then he also said that, quote, I've got a lot to prove, and I'm going to prove that I'm no quitter. Okay? Because they're making fun of him for not doing this fight because he had a cold.
Yeah. I'm not a quitter. I just pander.
I'll just definitely pander. But, I mean, if it's genuine, then great. But they're keep talking about a cold, though, and they're all in the newspaper, it says, originally scheduled to fight in Las Vegas tonight, Tapia dropped out saying he had a bad cold. You could see eyes rolling and hear tongues wagging all over the town. A cold, right? Is that what they're calling it these days? This is in the newspaper article. Well, Tapia not only had a cold, he developed bronchitis. He visited the newsroom on January 2nd, dark circles under his eyes and a doctor's report in his hand. But that hasn't stopped the talk. The
dark circles, like a guy that does coke and's been up for 3 days.
He's been up for a month with his nose running. Dark circles and a runny nose. He's got to be seriously ill.
Yeah.
And the New Mexico executive secretary of the Nevada Athletic Commission, hair silver as a motherfucker here, Chuck Minker, he said the sad part is the kid can be lying in bed with a temperature of 103 and everybody's thinking it's something else now. You have to give him a chance. What's wrong with you people? Jesus Christ. He said, quote, people, this is Tapia, quote, people talk behind your back. You think you've got friends and they turn out to be the worst ones. Okay. That's right. They said we've been spot tested. The guy he's fighting also had tested positive for cocaine a little while ago too.
Oh.
So they're going to fight over
a great fight.
Going to fight over 3 kilos is the purse here.
Yeah.
Who's going to win? That's fucking amazing. So
that's how you can get a great fight out of these two.
Oh, that's going to be active anyway.
Coke, yeah.
A lot of punching.
Winner gets the most.
So March of 1991, the fight is scrapped again here. Oh. He's still plagued by bronchitis and a viral gastrointestinal illness.
Dude,
what is wrong with this guy? I don't know what the fuck is wrong with him. They said Johnny's just hasn't been able to shake this thing, and there's no way he's fighting until he's 100%. The doctor says he needs to get completely well before he's training again. That's what his trainer says. So he says, Johnny feels terrible about this, but what can you do? What can you do? That's the thing. You can't do anything about it. He's just stuck. So they said, my sense is, this is the, who is this Tambler? Oh, he's the top-ranked boxing guy. And he says, my sense is that Tapia wanted to fight so badly that maybe he overdid his training and preparation. I prefer to err on the side of more recovery time than he needs rather than less. Yeah, so there we go. So he can't test positive for coke and then be sick for fucking this long. You know what I mean? No way. And this is an ad right under this. I love when ads are connected together because you can tell that they think both people who run these businesses think the same people are going to use their services. Yeah. There is TD's New Mexico's #1 gentleman show club featuring, as seen in Playboy's Book of Lingerie, Alicia Sanchez.
Oh.
And then connected to that is Golfer's Seminar, hosted by Bill Skelly's School of Golf. So you can either get golf
strippers
lessons.
and golf, same shit.
Same people throwing money up there. So April 29th, 1991, they said that Johnny Tapia here, there's articles of basically, it says, where is Tapia's boxing career headed? Where's his life headed? For that matter, where is he?
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment.
charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus.
We've lost him. The associate matchmaker for Top Rank Boxing, a guy who was defending him 3 months ago, said he had the world by the tail. He's withdrawn now from 3 fights with lingering bronchitis and flu. He stopped training, stopped running, and dropped out of existence since he's tested.
Quit?
Since he's tested positive for coke. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So after 6 months, they said no one even knows where he is. The Top Rank Boxing said, quote, he's a dead issue right now. It's all passing him by. What a waste. What a waste.
We don't even care.
We did. No, they're moving on to the next thing. He said another guy, Trampler, who's another Top Rank Boxing guy, he said he's on the DL right now, the disabled list. He's not having trysts at a rest stop. No. He said he can fight without a doctor's clearance. We haven't seen that, so we can't make any fights for him. Or we can't fight without a doctor's clearance. We haven't seen that, so we can't make any fights for him. All we can do is hope that he comes back.
Wow.
That's it. So they said, what the fuck's going on with this guy, basically? What's he doing? At the end of the article, it says, but Tapia still has one important thing going for him in life. Boxing or no boxing, he has real friends. His family, a pretty girlfriend who he smacks around. Yeah. The boxing establishment hasn't forgotten him either. And so, they said he's doing this. He's going to do it. They said, then this is amazing, too. Trampler, who's the top-ranked guy, said, this is no reflection on Albuquerque. And I'm not saying Las Vegas is a perfect place for him by any means. I'm not saying he's got a drug problem either. I'm not saying that.
That's not what I mean.
But this would at least get him away from an environment that's caused him some problems. So let's get him to Vegas and get him away from Albuquerque. Mm-hmm. Vegas, where you'll never find drugs, ever.
Yeah, it's the safest place
especially ones that keep you up for days at a time. Yeah. Never available in Las Vegas. Those casinos, make sure that people go to bed with sound judgment and not, throw away their life savings. That's the way it works. They're very kind.
To really feel good about this place.
Sound not good. Get a good 8 to 10 hours. You know what I mean? Because it's a lot of walking. That's what they want out of you.
We got no clocks in here, but we certainly give a shit.
We care about you. So he's a mess here. May of 1991. Tapia says he's okay.
Really?
I'm good now. Yeah, he's great. He's good stuff. I saw the paper. And he said, oh, what the fuck? I'm fine. What are you doing writing articles about where I am? Jesus Christ. He said he's frustrated by his lingering health problems, so he got a little discouraged and decided to keep to himself for a while trying to, get his strength up. He said it had nothing to do with drugs, this disappearance, at all.
Not even a little bit.
He said, quote, I just lost my 3 Ds, which is desire, discipline, and dedication.
Okay.
Yeah. He said, I didn't know if I wanted to fight anymore, but now I've got my 3 Ds back. Wow, he should be in the circus, this guy. Not bad.
3 of them?
3 of them, wow. Are they all the same size? I'd really want to know a lot about that.
Still only 2 balls?
Do you have one 2 balls, 6 balls? Do you have one main, a big old cock and the other little auxiliary cocks? Can you pump from one cock to the other and make one bigger if you squeeze?
Do they still meet? Do they still meet at the body, or are they off each other?
Yeah, are they all connected, or they all have their own separate bases? What are we talking about? Is there one shaft with 3 heads coming off? What are we doing here? Explain your tri-penis. Yeah, I want to know what's up. So he said,
"Want to see your tri-tip?"
Yeah, show me your tri-tip, sonny boy. So he's got his 3 Ds back, and he's ready to go again. Holy shit. So he said there's been no change to his state of suspension from California, too. He still can't do that. And they said before, this is one of the promoter guys, he said before he got sick, he's one of the most active champions. He's a heck of a fighter, and we'd like to see him come back. So by June, they said the IBF supports weekly drug tests for Tapia. They don't trust that he's been sick and everything like that at all.
Yeah.
So they want to
every Monday to show us.
Yeah, he's a champion. He's got to defend his belt if they want to keep it. So this is the IBF's the office in East Orange, New Jersey, said Johnny Tapia is a champion and he's a good fighter. If he's ready, willing, and physically able, we'd like to see him in the ring as soon as possible. But one of the things that we've asked is to make sure the fighter, for his own safety, is drug-free before he enters the ring.
Right.
We don't want to get blamed later on. So that's pretty fucking funny. He's been having problems here. So July 3rd, 1991, more drug tests for him. They're talking about he's still getting the drug tests. He said, well, one of the commission guy said, we'll continue to test him randomly at our prerogative, but I can't really say anymore. We're talking about someone's medical record, so we can't comment. They're talking about, is it more than that? Is it his head stuff?
Yeah.
What's going on? September 91. He was supposed to fight 9 months ago and didn't fight.
Right.
So he said that, this is the title, quote, Tapia update, boxing reality not far away. Okay. He said, suddenly there's pressure on Johnny Tapia to end his self-imposed hiatus, pressure from his promoter, from rival boxing manager, and from a major boxing organization. So look for Tapia to be back in the ring before October 26th or face an administrative jab that until now he has managed to slip. So they're going to start fucking sanctioning him for it, the body. They'll probably take his belt away. They said in order for him to keep his number one ranking, he has to fight within a year of his last fight. Otherwise, he'll drop completely out of the rankings.
Oh.
And that's for the WBC title shot he's supposed to get. What a fucking mess, man. This guy's a goddamn mess. So they said they assigned him fight dates October 10th, November 14th, and December 16th, and then, get him back into that. So that's what they're going to do. They're waiting on him, though. They said it's really up to them, Tapia and his trainer, to realize the vacation's over and it's time to go back to work. I don't know how hungry Johnny is to come back, but the meter's running. That's fucking hilarious. So October 1991, he's supposed to fight. Instead, he tests positive for cocaine.
Oh, my God.
Yep, all of that. And saying, there's no drugs, I've been very ill. There's no drugs. And then finally, after fucking 10 months, he's coming back. Test positive for coke.
He better hurry up. What are they going to do now?
He's a fucking disaster. So October 31st, 1991, he has his license revoked even in New Mexico.
Wow.
The New Mexico Athletic Commission voted unanimously to strip him of his license, citing urinalysis results showing 150 milligrams of cocaine per milliliter in his system, the highest level measurable.
I was going to say that seems like a lot.
It's apparently that's as high as the test goes. So it could have been 1 million, or we don't know. It stops at 150.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's a lot.
Yep, they buried the needle, is what they did. That's
yeah.
And
they
kept
hit the high score.
Yeah,
sure.
and kept the fucking pedal to the metal here. So it was taken on October 21st, 4 days before he was scheduled to fight in Vegas. Can't do that. The commission chairman said that he also tested positive in August as well. But he signed a contract saying he wouldn't do it again and he'd seek help. And it said it would lose his license if he tested positive again. Then he tested positive again. The silver-haired middle-aged white man, Jim Boggio, who's the commission chairman, said, this is by far the hardest thing I've had to do since I've been with the commission. Why? It seems perfectly reasonable.
It seems very easy. Seems
very
like cut
easy.
And dry.
But we're dealing with somebody's life here, and that takes precedence over boxing. Exactly. So who cares about this fucking license? What are you talking about?
Right, why is it so fucking hard?
He's doing coke and fucking engaged to a woman who seems like his dead mother who he beats up. He's got a lot of problems, this fucking guy.
And you can't put that man in the ring because if he's on drugs like that and can't defend himself, you're responsible for anything that happens to that guy.
Exactly.
If you're aware that he's doing it. Yeah.
You made him sign contracts and everything else. So the commission said they would reconsider the suspension if he stopped using drugs. Okay. Don't do it anymore. Yeah. He said all he would have to do is come before us and give us some kind of evidence that he's put the drug problem behind him. Okay. So he can't fight in New Mexico here, but they said that the action would have broader consequences. A lot of states will probably follow suit here. A boxing expert here from California said, I think Johnny's options as a boxer are extremely limited right now. Most of the various state commissions work very closely together these days, so he'd have a hard time getting a license anywhere. Right. Absolutely. That makes perfect fucking sense. So then, February 3rd, 1993, Jesus Christ, he's going to get arrested. That's because he gets in a head-on car accident and he's drunk.
Oh, boy. Where?
Yeah. So that's not good. Albuquerque, where do you think?
Yeah.
Yep, he was released from the county detention center. After that, he refused to take a breath test or a blood test to check for drugs either as well.
Of course.
So he reportedly his breath smelled of alcohol, his pupils were dilated, and heart rate and pulses were rapid. drunken on coke.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there he is, and he's a fucking mess. I guess he was driving eastbound on a city street when he reportedly weaved across the lane and crashed head-on into another vehicle.
Oh, my.
His fault. He then ran away from the wreck.
Yeah,
Bye.
As you do.
I mean, maybe he was training. He had his cardio up. I don't know. Police chased him, and then a struggle ensued in which Tapia maced the officer. Oh, he was maced. He was maced.
Oh, okay.
They had to mace him. I was like, wow, what did he do? Get the mace away from him? Police said that the occupants of the other vehicle suffered minor injuries. That's good. So in addition to driving while intoxicated, he's charged with leaving the scene of an accident, driving with a suspended license, having no registration or insurance.
Wow.
Fuck, this is crazy. So he's really not doing well right now. So he is then acquitted on March 11th, 1993, on a charge of threatening a witness.
Oh.
I guess a jury acquitted him on charges of threatening a witness and conspired to commit that crime almost a year ago. He said, I was facing 3 years in prison. I was telling the truth, I guess is what he said here. He was charged with threatening James Madrid, who was a potential witness in the murder trial of Tapia's cousin, Raymond Whiting. His cousin's on trial for murder, and they thought Tapia was trying to intimidate a murder witness here. They said that Madrid was approached twice the night of April 5th, 1992, first by a friend of Tapia's who asked, why did you rat on Bones Whiting? And then outside by Tapia himself. Tapia was accused of saying, quote, I can have you killed by giving an ounce of cocaine to someone to, quote, cocktail your house. In other words, burn it down, Molotov cocktail.
Yep.
Holy shit. So they said that basically it was a who they believed situation, and the verdict hung on whether the jury believed Tapia. And they said, obviously, they must have believed Tapia's story, is what the district attorney said. And that was that. So the jury deliberated 3 hours before saying he didn't threaten to kill someone for cocaine. So there we go. April 30th, 1993, he is, oh my God, Jesus Christ. This is fucking crazy. He was just left in front of a fire station.
Oh.
They walked out and saw him just in the parking lot of a fire station, left there, unconscious, and he was taken to the hospital for treatment here. Apparently, they suspect a drug overdose, and someone just dropped him off in front of the fire station.
Wow.
They'll help him. Can't take him to the hospital. I'll get in trouble.
I'm told if you leave bodies there, no questions asked, they'll take them.
They'll definitely won't just, leave him in the parking lot. They'll clear it out somehow. You know what I mean? So according to the report, Tapia's breath smelled of alcohol, and paramedics said they suspected a drug overdose was involved as well. He was treated and released, and then he couldn't be reached for comment. His mother-in-law, apparently he's been married now, said, quote, Johnny's fine. He's okay now. They said they picked him up at the hospital that morning and knew nothing. She said, I don't know anything more about the incident other than I picked him up. Reportedly here, he had been in a fight earlier that night at the A Mi Gusto Lounge.
Oh, yeah.
At 12, everybody goes there, 1240 Course Southwest. We've been there, Jimmie, many times. Yeah. He told the county sheriff's department detective that several people were trying to beat him up and that he didn't recall who put him in the car and drove him to the fire station. Holy shit. Tapia said he was worried about his wife, Teresa, new girl, who's 18 years old, by the way.
Oh, my God.
Whom he recently married. About 5 a.m., the sheriff's department was advised that Teresa Tapia was safe. Paramedics treated Johnny at the scene and took him to the hospital, and then that was that. So, holy shit, man. He's a fucking disaster. I'm telling you right now. This is, it's going bad. You know what I mean? This is really, and it's not even close to a boiling point here.
Oh, boy.
May 13th, 93, he pleads guilty after the DUI. Has to. He is going to be given 90 days supervised probation for that. It's a first offenders program for this. He has to perform 50 hours of community service as well.
We all make mistakes, yeah.
Totally. Now, he marries this girl named Teresa Chavez. He said that she first spurned his advances because she knew he was crazy. He's so charming, though, obviously. She said, quote, I thought he was nice and he was shy. His being shy is what got me interested. Mm-hmm. She said, quote, of course, he was playing the shy part. I think he knew he would attract me to him. But he wasn't like other guys who'll try to be all over you. He seemed like someone who wanted to be protected. Wow. And they said, were you shy? And he said, yeah, I guess I was acting. I guess I was, yeah. He's playing, a little hard to get. He's trying to take it down a notch. Doesn't want to let her know he's going to be beating her up in the future.
Doesn't want to come on too strong and scare her away.
No, you know how that goes. I'll be the guy dragging you into a bathroom by your hair isn't probably a good come-on line. She said, quote, when I met him, he was on the streets, which I didn't know, and he was a hardcore drug addict. No shit. I didn't know any of this, and I didn't know he was a fighter. I found out later when he wanted to make his comeback that he had this whole career before he met me.
She had no idea.
No, he was just this guy hanging out, doing a shitload of drugs. So when they married, then one day after their wedding, one of her cousins told her, if you want to see what you married, go look in the bathroom. And when she did, she found him in there shooting up.
Oh, no.
With a fucking needle in his arm. So she got upset, obviously. Yeah. Didn't know you were doing IV drugs. This isn't like partying a little. Hey, we did a couple bumps in the bathroom. We're going to dance the night away. We're going to fucking drink a little bit.
You had a problem.
Let's smoke a joint out back. We'll go in and none of this shit. This is, I'm in the bathroom with a fucking tied off, bro. That's a different story. Yeah. Wow, that's a totally different thing. So, holy shit. He ended up taking off because she got mad. So he ends up at a broken down hotel with all of their wedding money.
Yeah, well, that's where that shit's at.
Yep. So 24 hours later, he's overdosed.
Oh, boy.
And in the hospital, and then revived after his heart had stopped beating for 1 minute and 23 seconds.
Oh, my God. More brain damage.
Yes. This was the first time he's ruled clinically dead. Won't be the last, though.
Oh, boy.
These two are going to end up having 3 children together. That was right when they got married, Jimmy.
She saw beyond this to let that man put children inside her.
Fill my uterus with seeds is what she said.
God.
Wow.
She let that guy cream pie her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Out of her fucking mind?
She said, go ahead and fucking let her rip. I don't care.
Just stay in there.
So she said she barely knew the guy when she married him. She said, when we met, I liked him because he was very polite. He was willing to take time to get to know me, and not many guys are willing to do that. This is all it takes, guys. Did you hear what she just said? She didn't know he was famous. He was a hardcore drug addict who was homeless at the time. And she said, I liked him because he was very polite. He was willing to take the time to get to know me. That's all it took. And now
I liked him because I'm selfish in a relationship.
Yeah. And now he can run away with their wedding money and shoot it into his fucking veins. And she's like, it's what a weird, crazy thing. It's fine. So
I'm going to make a dad out of him.
I think that's the thing. She said she knew he had no car, no driver's license. When they went out, he would drive. She said he would
drive?
She would drive when they first started going out. He didn't even have a car. He had nothing. Wow. So she said, but I really had no idea. I'd drop him off early in the evening at his house, and I'd go right home because I had to go to work in the morning. As far as I knew, he was going right to bed. Instead, he was going out and hanging out. And Johnny says, I don't blame anyone except me. I'm not mad at anybody. They didn't come to me. I went to them, meaning drug people. Yeah. And Teresa said, though, she's, what the fuck? He's unpredictable. He's hard to deal with, but she loves him. She loves him. She says, I've had all I could take, though. I told Johnny I was calling a lawyer. I did call a lawyer. I wasn't going to go on living like that.
Right.
But now he's okay. He says he credits 6 people for his new outlook on life.
Who is
okay? Teresa, Paul and Melly Chavez, who are his trainer, his manager, and his wife, his mother-in-law, Annie, obviously, and his grandparents, Miguel and Esther, obviously. He said, those people were there for me. I mean, my grandfather did take me out and have me fight men, but besides that, and make me sleep on the porch, they're there for me. I ripped their hearts out. I've stomped all over them, but they're still here. Yep, so... He said, I've been to jail. I got tired of it. I don't ever want to go back. The regulars would tell me I didn't belong there. They kept telling me that I had to get it together and get back in the ring. So he said, that's what it is. It's his fear of incarceration that's going to get him going. He says, I hate to even say the word coke. It really scares me. That's a bad sign.
Even when I say it, I crave it.
That is bad. That's not good. So now he's living with his wife and his mother-in-law. Jesus, he's keeping an eye there. So he said he plans to stay far away from bad people. He's going to move temporarily to Vegas to train at the gym. That's what he was going to do, but then they were scrapped because they couldn't get sparring partners there for some reason. So he says that, quote, there's nothing like having good people around you, and I've got that. He's good now.
Okay.
March 27th, 1994 is the next time he fights.
What the fuck?
3 years ago, he was supposed to have a fight. That never happened, and it kept going. That's how long it took. He's still 22-0-1, by the way.
Pretty good.
Yeah, he fights a guy who's 2-15 coming in, so this is just to get his mojo back, and he knocks him out.
But he doesn't have his belt anymore.
No, God, no.
Him, right? Yeah.
Christ, 18 people have had it since then. Yeah. He's took that away after the fight where he failed the drug test right before the fight in October. So round 4, he knocks this guy out. It's a bunch of guys like that. Next guy, Arturo Finito Estrada. Yeah. Finito, like it's final. I'll knock your ass out. Johnny knocks him out, makes him finito in the second round. He fights another guy in May of 1994. Now it's every month he's fighting. May 5th, 94. He wins a unanimous decision in 10 rounds. That's got to be good for his brain. June of 94, he wins a 9 out of 10 round knockout. So he knocks a guy out in the 9th round here. He's 25-0. Next up, he fights a guy who's 2-11 at the America West Arena. Look at that.
Oh.
And this is a knockout in 3 rounds to win the North American Boxing Federation Super Flyweight Championship. Wow. Apparently there's a guy 2-11 who was up for that belt as well. Seems like they were just giving that belt to Johnny on a platter here.
Yeah.
That's fucking ridiculous. That's July 15th, 1994. July 17th, 1994, now they're having fluff pieces about him. The fluff pieces are back, everybody.
Oh, boy.
Here we go. This is an article from the Daily News that says Johnny Tapia didn't have to pick himself up to win the vacant NABF junior bantamweight title 2 nights ago, knocking out some 4'10" substitute who looked like he was representing Munchkinland. That's in the newspaper.
You can't say that.
You can't say that. That's hilarious. They might as well have said some little fucking midget came in the ring and he beat the shit out of him and threw him in the first row.
We allowed midget boxing for once for this guy to get a belt.
We wanted to make him feel good about himself. They say Johnny Tapia only had one comeback from the dead. Only had to come back from the dead. He only had to come back from 3.5 years of cocaine. The press release says he's undefeated. Tapia doesn't put 3.5 years of eating jailhouse slop and waking up in streets with ice pick holes in his head into his win column. The press release says he was fighting cocaine during those 3.5 years. He says, quote, "I never fought it. I was with it. I'm fighting it now. Being clean is fighting it." Ready to go. He's fighting at 115 pounds right now.
Okay.
He says he dreams of drugs. He dreams of his mother's murder. He dreams of all sorts of shit. He's
Don't close your eyes then.
That's why he's out doing coke, I think.
Yeah.
So he says, quote, "Let me tell you something about little cities," he said. They've got a lot more trouble than big cities. And cocaine, it likes everybody.
She likes everybody.
That's what I mean. It's back to calling it it. That's good.
Yeah.
It don't care where you come from or where you go. It's going to be there. That's right. He says, "I always see it. I see it in my dreams." That's what he said, where he touches it and picks it up and everything else.
Yeah.
So he also dreams of his mother, and he says his father had already been shot when he was 8. He doesn't know that, obviously, because it was before him. He said, though, his mother, that haunts him. He said they kidnapped and raped her. Then they stabbed her with an ice pick and hanged her. She was very beautiful. I miss her like crazy. Easter, Christmas, all those holidays, I'm ripped apart. I see somebody hug his mom and dad, and I'm ripped apart. This dude, he needs to talk to someone here. So he really does. Wow, that's wild. Anyway, he's the whole thing, he says there's too much temptation around celebrities, and he's got to kind of keep to himself and stay with his wife. And yeah, he said, "I'm a boxer and I'm going to fight." This is the other guy, the Chavez guy. He said, "I told him I'm 70 years old and I ain't got much time. I can go fishing. So you got to fight. Otherwise, I'm going to fucking not bother with this shit." He says his wife and grandparents who raised him helped strengthen him. He said, it was really Paul, though. That's the Chavez guy, his manager. He said, and Chavez says, "You don't give up on people. Johnny, to me, is like a son. You don't give up on your son." We'll see. Let's see.
Yeah.
July 20th, 1994, Tapia is arrested on cocaine charges again.
Oh, boy.
Yep, it never stops here. Arrested Tuesday on charges that he and 2 other men allegedly tried to sell crack cocaine to an off-duty police officer.
Okay.
He's being held in Albuquerque. Again, charges include possession and conspiracy to distribute a controlled substance. All 3 are jailed on a $5,000 bond. The police believe that the substance involved in the alleged offer was crack cocaine. Even if it wasn't, the charges remain the same because the intent was there. Even if you sell somebody non-crack, you still get charged with selling crack.
Yeah,
they thought they bought crack.
It was crack.
Yeah. The officer said that at that point it should be fraud too.
Yeah.
Sir, I'm going to report you to the Better Business Bureau on top of it. They said that the officer said he was off duty on his way to exercise at the gym when he pulled behind a car at a stop sign in central Albuquerque. Albuquerque? Yes. This fucking paper is all shitty. Sorry. I'm like, is that a different suburb? He said that one of the men approached his Jeep and asked him what he wanted. I said, I don't want anything. They attempted to sell me. He told me they were going to sell me something, drugs. Johnny Tapia, the driver, got out and stated to me that they were selling or what they were selling. I told him I was a police officer. Tapia said, relax, and then got back in his car and they drove off. That's not how that works.
Calm down. I got to go.
Chill out. So he said he drove to the gym and called the police station with descriptions of them and the license plate number of the car. And then an officer was dispatched and located the car and arrested all three of them.
Relax.
So that was fucking stupid. The incident was another in a string of his fucking problems, obviously. And his trainer, Paul Chavez, said, this whole thing has knocked me for a loop. He's right at the door for a world championship, and then something like this happens. What can you do?
What can you do?
What can you do? He's a fucking mess. So they said he tested clean last Friday in Phoenix. Okay. He probably knows how to test clean now, though.
Yeah, I'm sure. It also doesn't take time to get out, that long to get out of your system. So maybe he just, does he know when he's getting tested? He just doesn't.
They don't know. They said, but he hasn't been tested. He said he knows that if he tests positive, he's completely out of the boxing business in New Mexico. That's one of the commission guys. So turns out that it wasn't crack. It was soap disguised as crack. He's not even selling real crack. He's selling burn bags to people. That's fucked up. What an asshole. October 12th.
For money to get real coke for him, huh?
Yeah, for money to real coke. That's all it is. October 12th, 94. He has a title fight somehow.
Wow.
We're still going to give him a title fight here. Wow. He fights Henry Martinez, whose AKA is Donald. Again, that's not okay. He's 16-1 coming in, and this is his last fight. It's a TKO in the 11th round, and he's retired here. So Tapia retires his opponent and wins the WBO super flyweight title. Not bad. December 4th, 1994, he says that he can't wait. He wants to box again. He's into it. He forgets sometimes that he's so into stuff. He says, if a guy wants to bang with me, I'll bang.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. If he wants to box with me, I'll box.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he wants to punch, if he wants to do that. He says that that he's the champion. He's supposed to. His manager's telling him to dictate the pace of bouts, and he said he tells me that, and I can be a fighter who can dictate. Nobody can catch me if I box.
Mm-hmm.
So then the article goes on to say one person who has caught Tapia is wife Teresa, who has meshed well with Chavez to keep the energetic, emotional fighter in check. Johnny and Teresa tool around town in a Plymouth Champ, far from the Rolls Plymouth Champ. What is that?
That's a bad car.
That sounds awful.
Yeah,
a Champ. I don't even know what the fuck that is.
I think it's like the Reliant K.
That's all they made at that point. Was Reliant K's, right? Plymouth. That's what they were making. So yeah, probably
I think it's similar to that, like a New Yorker. It's not a good car.
Oh God, far from the Rolls Royce that Muhammad Ali would drive across the countryside.
Yeah.
Hey Teresa, Tapia yells across the South San Jose Community Center gymnasium. What year is the Plymouth? A 72? Oh, 82. Whatever. So it's an 82.
It's a bad car. Yeah. It's anything made in the 80s is a bad car.
This particular car has a blue book of $200 at the time. So
yeah.
He's doing well. And he says, quote, not even that much, but I don't care what I ride in. Well, maybe. I'd like to have a 49 convertible. But you know what? People think I'm rich. I'm not. No, I don't think you're rich at all.
We know.
I think you sell burn bags to undercover cops to try to get coke money. No.
Well, you drive a $200 car.
No shit. He said, I owe too much from those 4 years I had. Too much. And Teresa and I are trying to have a baby. I don't care, boy, girl, as long as it's healthy. As long as it's not dumb like me. That'd be great. He says that his manager, Tapia says about Chavez, he doesn't tell me anything about attempts to have children affecting training. He doesn't tell him, like, hey, don't try to have kids. It's going to fuck up your training. He says he's ready to go, man. You don't have to worry about him. So he fights Rolando Bohol, B-O-H-O-L. Bahal? I don't know. Either way, it's December 8th, 1994, and he beats this guy in the second round with a knockout. He's 28-0. Doing great. Next up, February 95. He beats a guy in a unanimous decision, 12 rounds. He keeps his belt. He's 29-0-1. Next up, Ricardo Vargas. This is a draw. For some reason, there's a draw. I don't know what happened here, but it stopped in the 8th round, and it's considered a technical draw. Okay. So whatever happened, and he's 29-0-2. June 7th, 1995. Here we go. I'll just read from the Albuquerque Journal. That's fun always. Albuquerque boxer Johnny Tapia and his wife were together and, quote, trying to work it out Wednesday after a violent early morning quarrel in which the World Boxing Organization super flyweight champion allegedly pulled a gun.
On her?
On her.
Wow.
Quote, they're living in the same quarters, but there's obviously a lot of stress right now, the couple's lawyer said. We're in the process of trying to seek counseling for them. Holy shit.
We have to fix this.
Oh, my God. Neither Tapia or Teresa were available for comment. Right. No shit. What are you going to comment? They attributed the incident partly to stress created by a serious illness in Teresa's family. Well, yeah, when your wife's aunt is sick, you want to put a gun in her face. That makes her forget all about the aunt and worry more about her own fucking safety and well-being.
Real tired of you worried about your uncle's blood clots.
Holy shit. Yeah, enough of that shit. Enough of his deep vein thrombosis, because you just told me that was what it was called beforehand. I was trying to figure it out. Enough of that shit. That's like definitely credit for Jimmie on getting the term right, because I didn't know what it was before.
That's a disease I'm terrified of.
Yeah.
Evidently
it had nothing to do with the case, too. It was something completely different that came up beforehand.
It strikes people on planes, man.
I know. You got to get up and luckily you pee every 15 minutes, so it should be okay. Your terrible bladders. Your terrible bladder and fucking awful gastrointestinal system are going to save your life, damn it.
Gotta get up and flex these legs.
Constantly, man. So the lawyer said, I think it was that, and I think a combination of a lot of factors that have been going on with Johnny that I'm not at liberty to elaborate on.
Uh-huh.
About 4 a.m., police responded to a 911 call made by Teresa Tapia from the home, that's his wife, where she told police that her husband had come home angry with his eyes dilated, perhaps from cocaine use. Let's go ahead and say from cocaine use.
Probably.
A little bit. So they said I guess some shit went down, and they asked the lawyer, what about his drug use? And the lawyer said, Johnny hasn't said anything one way or the other at this point. Obviously, we're going to seek professional help for Johnny to see that he doesn't sink back into usage. Teresa said that they started their argument, or they took the argument outside their mobile home.
Let's take it outside.
He's got a belt up in a trailer. He takes a belt home to a trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's take it outside.
Let's take it in public, because outside in like your home could be out back, but this is literally, let's take it in the park.
Yeah, where it's going to reverberate and rattle off everyone's tin walls.
Let's let everybody watch this.
So when they got outside, he went to his car and pulled out a gun.
Oh, my God.
And then she ran back in the house and called 911 while he ran away. Teresa told police that her husband had hit her in the past, and the police report is going to be forwarded to the DA. Yeah. And they said, quote, we'll investigate the other domestic violence charges and see if there's a pattern. We're not looking to arrest Mr. Tapia now, but we do want to see if he wants to make a statement. I don't think he does. So they said, I've talked to Teresa, Johnny, and Paul Chavez. This is the lawyer this morning. I get the impression that Teresa has been spending a lot of time with her brother, who's ill, and Johnny's used to being with her all the time and didn't react well to her not being around. Teresa told me it was a marital thing and they were going to try to work it out. No alarms went off with me as far as his not fighting July 2nd. I told him to really bear down on his training because he's got a tough opponent coming up, and he said he would. Okay.
He pulled a gun to try to keep her home from going out to visit her brother.
It gets worse. It later comes out that she'll admit that he hit her with the gun. Oh, he pistol whipped her. He didn't just take the gun out, which is unbelievable. So, All right. This
pause there.
This has been let's stop right there because I think it's been a wild episode and there's so much deeper stuff coming, and it's a crazy ride. And if we stick around for this, it's going to be like 3.5 hours long, and we're not going to do that. So we're going to break this up into 2 episodes and make them about an hour and a half a piece, because the next one you have got to there's a lot of crazy coming. Like, it's a wave. Even we have doctored DNA tests coming up. Like, there's crazy shit coming up, drugs and craziness and death. So get in there and watch it out. I mean, the coincidences that happen. It's wild stuff. So definitely you want to listen to next week. But until then, let's get into all of our other stuff here. Thank you so much for what you do for us and everything. And what a fucking mess. But if you like the Johnny Tapia story or any others that we've told, first of all, tell everyone you know about the damn show. That helps a lot. Post on social media. That's all good shit. And also give us a review on whatever app you're listening on. It does help us a lot. Go to shutupandgivememurder.com. Tickets for Small Town Murder live shows and tons of merch and everything are there. August 12th, Chicago, our biggest show ever. Get your asses there. Also, Dallas, Atlanta, Charlotte, Philly. All the rest are sold out. So get your tickets to those 4 places, or 5 places, including Chicago. Get in there right now. Shutupandgivememurder.com. Follow us on social media. We are at Crime and Sports on Twitter and Facebook, at Small Town Murder on Instagram and Threads there. And you also definitely want to do Patreon. Patreon.com/crime and sports. A cup of coffee will get you so much more than that. You will get, for anybody, $5 a month or above. You're going to get the whole back catalog of bonus stuff, couple hundred things to listen to, episodes. Those are called episodes, things to listen to. And they grow. We've had a long weekend, everybody. You have no fucking idea. We got almost boiled to death on a tarmac in Salt Lake City. So not only that, you're going to get, for Crime and Sports, we're going to talk about theme park disasters part 2. Mid-'80s on. So we got a lot of crazy shit to talk about there. And then for Small Town Murder, we're going to talk about a subject everyone's been requesting for a long time now, the Stanford prison experiment. What happens when you put normal people, take them, not prisoners, not people who work at prisons, and you go, you're guards, you're prisoners. Treat each other accordingly, however you think it should be. Whole bad things happen. So we'll talk all about that, how terrible people really are deep down in their brains. What kind of reptile people we are. That is patreon.com/crime and sports. And you'll get a shout out at the end of the show, damn it. Jimmie's going to mispronounce your name, even though he wants to get it correct. And as a matter of fact, you know, when we're right now. Do it. Let's do it right now, Jimmie. What do you say? Let's get on, Jimmie. Do it. Hit me with those fucking names right now.
This week's executive producers are Jordan Bennett, who traveled all the way from fucking Canada to come see us.
Thank you, Jordan. It's so nice to see you.
I think she's seen us like 15 times or something.
It's like 12 at least. It's a dozen.
Ridiculous number.
Damn
and Kyle Norwig in the UK. Thank you, Kyle. You're fucking wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate person. You're fucking terrific. Thank you. Other producers this week are Arnold Skoland, I think, the turkey leg drunk
Arnold
polygobbled.
Bob Backlund's manager.
Oh, is it? That's evidently the worst manager.
He threw in the towel.
Right.
Yeah. He didn't do shit. He just sat there like a fat bowling ball.
Drunk Polly ate a turkey leg in Rocky. And that is donated by the turkey leg. Peyton Meadows, nice. Fester Rat Scramble, Bob in for cock. Oh, Bobbin for cock, James.
Bobbin for cock.
Right.
Nice.
Janice Hill, Matt Villanueva, Pavilis Basivius, Brandy Huntley, Dusty Frankenbush, Jordan Overcast, MP, Tina Schabel, Claire Brown, Krista Brumby, Cody Monique, Tane Sorensen Adams, Brian Beasley, Sydney Jackson, Emily Borgie, I think, Angie Vol maybe, Fabian Ruiz, Reese, Harrison Parker. It's just Blake, Chris Kolomeyer. Kolomeyer? Yeah. And Kristen Kolomeyer donated twice. Thank you so much.
Oh, that's
Sarah,
very nice. Thank you.
Sarah Nicholson, Polly Branham, Nate with no last name, Sarah prefers maybe. It might be prefers.
What do you prefer? Tell us.
Matt Smith, Drellin Lippin, Draylin Lippin, Lipan maybe, Marianne with no last name, Chili with no last name, Matt Saroff, Anthony Purcell, TJ Schaub, Andy Massey, Sean Charles, Booty Saxton, Morgan with no last name, Catherine Risk, Emily Russell, Stacy Butte, or maybe Butt. It's probably Butte. Brendan Backwitz, Luke Jockers, and Addie Lancourt, Hazel Tov, that might be Hazel Tov, Ukima Harris, Ukima.
Hey. Nice job, Jimmie. Good
Gerald
call.
Haggard. I got to talk it out sometimes. Caitlin Hofer, and I still probably get it wrong. Aaron Haddo, Jacob
Names
Towley.
Are hard.
They really are. Towley. Because you never fucking know how they pronounce
there's no
this
set
shit.
pronunciation.
No,
if you see a word, we've all agreed on it. Your last name, who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
Every family can pronounce it differently. We have no idea.
Teresa Nelson Lake, that could be wrong. A2 Brute, that could be wrong. Marsha Mikos. Micus, I don't know. Brandy with no last name.
See
Grant
what happens?
Johnson. Lillian with no last name. Spencer Porter. Amy Doodle. Sean McLean. Kayla Burns. Sia Rising. Rebecca with no last name. Nikki Kisselef. Kai Salef. Kisselef. Big Papa, no last name. Jordan Robinson, Noel Williamson, DK Fishin, 24/7. Good for you, DK. Melissa Baldwin, Andrea Hecht, Brenda with no last name. Joshua Jeldon, Mike Wilbur, Joe with no last name. Brian Lewis, Genji Gordon, John Barker, David Mulnio, Yaha G CME. All right, Nathan. Wow. Nate Patron, James Steen, Christopher Snell, Alyssa Gorilla. What? That may be Apple correcting that word.
Maybe.
Whatever your last name is, type it into Apple and see if it says Gorilla. Jay Wesley. Jay Wesley Roberts Jr., Jennifer Mulvihill, Allie Crean. What is it? Mulvihill. There it is. Yeah. Jenny Sherman, Danny Hart, Paige Powell, Rowell, Nicholas Forch, Peyton with no last name, Darren Laybolt, Eloise K, Ralph Peer, Mule Hancock, I don't know what that is, Smitty G2430, Amanda Groening, Ryan with no last name, Morgan needs more Minnesota cases, James, Rooney, that's her last name, Living Dead, Fern Barrel, Brittany Gass, Austin Grubb, Marie Lutz, Shannon Jones, Michaela H, Nicole Wetzel, Haley Brummel, Samuel Ritchie, Bailey Bayless, no way, that's pretty rad still, Courtney Nunn, or Noni maybe, Carrie Henry, Crystal with no last name, Julian Lopez, Sarah Watson Ratke, Patreon 180011. That feels like a prison number. Carol Huber, Emily George, Melanie Alvarez, Daniel with no last name, Ben Summers, Josh Fechter, hardly know her. Tiffany Freeze, Amber Haig, Griggy 409, Robin Kennard, Leslie Klepadlo, Austin Hatch, Andrea Loyett, Natalie Mix, Philip Focus,
Philip, you fucking asshole. Focus.
Laura Conley, Clinton Apple, Appel maybe, Tracy Fisher, Noel Tully, Joe Tomasco, Jenny Saucy, Berna Herda Herdasar, Doadartar. It's not a word.
I don't think it is. Yeah.
Kim,
you almost made it one.
QMK Olson, Jamie Lewis, Annalena, Jamie Steve. Oh boy, Graham Murphy, Desiree Fisher, Adam D, Lisa with no last name, Kimberly Gibson, Carol Carberry, Rachel with no last name, Morgan with no last name, Callie Oxford, Katari Myers, Kateri, Don Kankaria, Kankakari, Carly Reeves, Bill Bodley, Bodle, Bo Madden, AJ Mastow, Neff with no last name, Frank Bro, Troy with no last name, Leanne Morgan, Jacob Reddens, Caitlin B, Eric Randall, Emily Lee, Sundet. Oh boy, Ryan Tupper, like the wear. Hey, Stacy Brown. I hope you have Tupperware money. Christina with no last name. Oh, Christina Dotson, Connie Kramer, and all of our patrons. You guys are fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody, for all that you do for us.
Stunning
we cannot
work. Yeah.
express our, that's the way to put it. Stunning work. It is work, and you're doing wonderful work, and we cannot thank you enough for all that you do for us. Thank you. You've helped us more than you could possibly imagine. So definitely, if you want to follow us on social media, real easy to do that. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. There's links to everything right there, and you can find us live from the Crime and Sports Studios. We will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.